Hey there, my fellow bounty hunters. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of RobaFett, and welcome to something a little different. I really love movies. I really do. And I've done some movie reviews in the past, but I want to start doing more of them. I love movies probably almost, if not more, than video games. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, just do some movie reviews and talk about movies, and not necessarily the latest movies out. You know, there's a lot of movies out there, and I like to share my opinion on them, good or bad. There's a lot of stuff I've sat through before, and I think I've gotten to the point to where I'm able to actually speak on these movies intelligently. Hopefully you'll agree. I'm going to try to do this every Monday. I'm going to call it Monday Movie Reviews. This one might not get out till Tuesday, so... But genuinely, I'm going to try to get them out every Monday, one or two, you know, every Monday, you know, hopefully two every Monday, two reviews. And yeah, so we'll just see how that goes. And anyway, for my first Monday movie review, we're going to go ahead and do Prometheus because, of course, here in a couple months, we're going to have Alien Covenant coming out. And while it's probably not the sequel that all of us would have wanted for Prometheus, especially me, I'm happy that they're finally doing it. You know, and some people are saying, oh, it's a soft reboot and all this stuff. It's got David in it, okay? It's not a soft reboot. It's a sequel to Prometheus. It's just not the it's not the sequel this city deserves. But it's the sequel it's gonna get right now. But anyway, with that being said, let's jump into Prometheus. So as with my other movie reviews, I'm gonna go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Before we do that, let's get into some general stuff about Prometheus. So, it has a lot of mixed reviews coming right out the bag. I remember a lot of people didn't know how they felt about it. Some people said it was poorly written. Other people said they didn't know what direction it was going in, left them confused, they didn't understand it, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? That's not always necessarily a bad thing if a movie needs you to think, if it requires you to think. And I think that's what Prometheus does. It doesn't answer every question, it leaves some things open-ended, and I think that's a good thing. And at the beginning of the movie, one of the biggest things that I was always at first just really confused about is like, what the freak is this opening scene about? And essentially, I think I finally figured it out. I believe that there's this character and he takes some of what we learned is the black goo later, and it kind of breaks him down and kills him, or it might not even be the black goo, I'm not sure what it is, but he takes something and it disintegrates him. It's kind of disgusting, and he drops off into the water. And in this movie, that's supposed to be the building blocks for human life. And I think he's supposed to, not only do they call the ship Prometheus, the movie Prometheus, but I also think he might represent Prometheus, who of course in Greek mythology brought fire to mankind and was later punished for it. It did not end up well for Prometheus, and it does not end up well for this guy at the beginning. Flash forward a few years later, we have our two main characters, Shaw and Holloway, played by Neely Repis, and the guy that kind of looks like Tom Hardy, but it's not as good as Tom Hardy and kind of sucks. They believe they've found where all these answers are coming from, and they head there. They head there in the ship, and they land on LV-223. Now, this is important. It's not LV-426, because I remember when I first went and saw this movie, I was like, this is kind of weird, because it doesn't really look like the planet from the first Alien, and it's not, okay? It's different. On the way to the planet, we also get introduced to David, who is played by Michael Fassbender, and he does a great job. David is the android on the ship. We find out that he's very curious. He's been spying on Shaw's dreams while she sleeps. He basically does what he wants, you know? He's very self-aware, it seems. So we get to the planet, we find out that the engineers were there at some point, but they're all dead for some reason, and they find themselves in this room, and the second they open the door, they've already disturbed stuff. They've already started in motion the whole movie. David finds the black goo. Things just start to go awry from there. David basically wastes no time after finding the black goo to go and find a character I don't think he's really liked the whole movie, as well as the rest of us, Holloway, aka Tom Hardy look-alike guy. But it's kind of weird because before he spikes Holloway's drink, he he kind of almost asks for his permission. He asks him probably the most important question in the movie, because Holloway's very disappointed. He was hoping to find out that the engineers were alive and they were going to tell him that he was special and all this stuff, and that didn't happen. They're dead. He has no answers, and David's basically like, why do you think your people made me? And he's like, well, we made you because we could. And he's like, well, how disappointing would that be if you found out that that was the same answer? See, this is what I like. I like these kind of movies. They make you think a little bit. How disappointing would that be? And then he says, how far would you go to get the answers you want? And of course, like an idiot, Holloway says, I would do anything and everything. We also find out something very important. Shaw had a good father that we find out when her dreams were being spied on, and she has a strong faith in God. We also find out that she can't have kids, and of course Holloway, to make her feel better about not being able to have kids, bangs her. So, because that's always the answer. And pretty much, I'm assuming you've seen this movie if you're watching this review, so I'm not going to go into the rest of it. You know everything that happens, so I want to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so what is good about this movie? What works about Prometheus? Well, like I said, it's very thought-provoking. It makes you think, man. And that's what I like. I like when directors, you can tell it's very well thought out. It's very intricate, and I honestly think you should think of this as A New Hope from Star Wars, okay? Not comparing it, like, obviously I think A New Hope is a lot better of a movie just because it's Star Wars, but it's not going to have all the answers. It would be absurd for it to have all the answers, because this is a big story and it can't be told in one movie, and honestly I don't think it ever will be told. Sadly, I think this movie got such mixed reviews, and the studio probably gave Ridley Scott such a hard time that he probably is not making the sequel he wanted to make, and that is so disappointing. All because people are whiners. People are like, this didn't work, I don't understand, there's not aliens, there's not enough aliens. People just whined and complained, and now they're getting this alien movie, and I gotta say, the movie looks good, but the trailer that came out for it was just trash. Anyway, back to what's good about this movie. Shaw, played by Neely Rep, she is just really great. I love her character. I think she's got a lot of depth. She brings a lot to this movie. I love Michael Fassbender as David. I think he does such a great job. I love the scene where he finds the navigation room. I love the score for this movie. The score is really good, especially that score. When he finds the room, the song they play for that, I just love it. I love the captain just because he's a fun character. I really like him. And he brings up an interesting point that the planet could be a military installation. That it's almost like a missile silo. Like, that's basically what this whole planet is. This is just not even a fraction of what these people are, and they're all dead. I love the atmosphere this movie makes. It's very creepy. He knew how to do this in the first Alien. He knew how to do it in Blade Runner. He makes this creepy, just on edge. You're on edge the whole time. Especially the scene where she has to get the alien fetus out of her, and she has to go into the cryo chamber. Oh man, that is so intense. I remember when I was in the theater, I was just biting my nails. I was on the edge of my seat. Oh man, that scene had me going, man. That is probably my favorite scene in the movie. Excellently shot. This movie is excellently shot. Beautiful scenes. I honestly think he did such a great job shooting this movie. And I was really glad that they explored the engineers. I was really glad that we got to see the engineers, because, and just think about how cool that is. This is a movie about that big guy that you saw sitting in that chair in the first Alien movie, and I always wondered, like, what was that when I was a kid, and now we're kind of getting a glimpse of what it was. And just think about how cool that is. But also think about if you were just watching the first Alien movie and you didn't know anything else about anything, not the expanded universe of Alien or anything, just that movie. You would probably have as many questions as you had after watching Prometheus. Like, who is that big guy in the chair? Where did those eggs come from? Why do aliens burst out of people's chests? Like, what? There was so many things that weren't answered yet, and that we just accept because we know everything else about the other Alien movies. Well, we don't have that with Prometheus. We might never have it. I don't know. It just depends on the sequel and everything they're going to put in it. And one thing that really still has me puzzled is Vickers. This is a character that could go either way. We don't really know if she's an android or not. It's very heavily hinted at that she may be an android. There was even a point when Ridley Scott, to promote the movie, they were asking him, they were saying, hey, we heard that there's an android in this movie, and he said there might be two. And when you got the creator of the movie talking about that, I mean, that's definitely something. So let's look at evidence on both sides. Is Vickers a robot? Well, she goes into cryosleep, which a robot wouldn't necessarily need. She is doing push-ups when she gets out, which is something she seems to be, that seems like something a human might do in order to try and wake up. She seems to have emotions, fatigue. She seems very jealous of David when Waylon wakes up. She calls Waylon her father, but it's also very interesting to note that David views him as a parent as well. When Waylon dies, she really doesn't seem to care very much. It's alluded that her and the captain get it on at some point, but it's never actually shown, so we don't know if it actually happens or not. And she seems to have enough strength to push David up against the wall, even though he doesn't seem to be struggling very much. Alright, so what was bad? What didn't work? Well, obviously, like I said before, I just hate the actor who played Holloway. He was just terrible. He's just not a good actor. I was glad that he did not live very long in the movie. I'm not sad to see him go. He's just terrible. And stop trying to look like Tom Hardy. Okay? Because he's a great actor and you're not. Okay? Why didn't you just pick Tom Hardy? Why? Why? Waylon being in this movie, I didn't know if I necessarily thought it was, well, necessary. I mean, it was interesting. I thought Guy Pearce did a great job of portraying him. But that being said, it almost felt like a twist that didn't need to be in the movie. It was interesting, and it was kind of disappointing to me that they've killed off the Waylon family now that would control the company. I wanted to see where that would go a little bit more, but I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, the fetus scene was really disturbing, and like I said, this is probably a lot with the questions, but a lot of things I didn't understand how it was almost like the prequels of Star Wars. I know I keep referencing Star Wars, but like there's just certain things that didn't line up from the prequels to the movies that we all know and love. And the same thing here. I don't see how, I mean, I feel like what he was trying to say was this is the first alien face hugger ever, and I don't understand how that correlated. Maybe we'll find out, but it just right now it just doesn't seem like it's very seamless. But like I said, those are things that I hope will be answered in this next Alien movie. Sometimes the pacing in this movie, right after she has this horrible surgery, it's just everything's just back to business, I just kind of felt like it was just kind of rushed a little bit. Sometimes the pacing in the movie was just, I don't really know if I should list this as a negative, but we don't really know anything about the xenomorph at the end, and like I said, I don't know if we're ever going to get the answers as to why, is that a precursor to the xenomorphs we know now, or what does it mean, or was it just a fun little jab at fans? We just don't know. Whatever. But other than that, not too much bad. Let's get to the ugly of this movie. Alright, so I gotta say, by far the worst thing about this movie is these two freaking engineers, these two freaking idiots. I don't understand. You are contracted to you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting yourself into, to go out. These are supposed to be the best of the best. Waylon handpicked these people himself, and these two freaking idiots are there? You gotta be kidding me. And they we're gonna get out of here. He doesn't even know how to freaking get out of the cave. They get stuck in the cave, then they see the stupid worm creatures, and then they try to touch them, and no, why would you try to touch them? No, it's just, oh my gosh, there's just, Oh, I hate that scene so much. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. They're so stupid. I don't understand why Ridley Scott did that, but he did. And probably the other ugly is, like I said, I don't feel like this movie's gonna have a true sequel. I feel like we're getting a fan, you know, it's like, here you go, fans, there you go, I know you wanted that, so there you go. I mean, that's honestly, I can't 100% say that, but I just feel, especially the way the trailer was shot, it's like, look, there's aliens here, there's aliens there, there's a sex scene in the shower and an alien kills somebody, oh god. Like, it's just, oh man, it's just pandering to the extreme, and I just really hope Ridley Scott made what he wanted to make. And if they pressured him to throw some aliens in there and he had to do it, then fine. But I'm more interested in the story, guys. That's the thing about me with movies. I'm more interested in the story. I'm more interested in what they're putting in there. I don't care if that movie has aliens or not. I'm not gonna lie. You know, we all love aliens. They've been in a lot of movies. If they're essential to the story, then I want them in there. If they're not, then they're not. What I really wanted from the sequel, I wanted to learn more about the engineers, and I don't know if we're gonna get that in this movie. And guys, I'm gonna give Prometheus a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. And any movie that can make me want to go back and rewatch it several times is always going to be good in my book. But anyway, guys, what did you think of Prometheus? Did you like Prometheus? Are there any movies you'd like me to review in the future? What's going on with you? Just let me know down in that comment box below. And of course, if you like today's video, you can go ahead and hit that like button. That's pretty much what you do when you like a video. And if you're new around here, or if you just haven't already, don't forget to blast that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification button down there. Ring that bell, and you're going to get some notifications on every time I decide I'm going to upload a video. And as always, guys, stay awesome, stay beautiful, keep those Punisher hats on, and I'll see you later.